Therefore, with everything, let's make a conclusion all together. Don't do it for the sake of yourself. Remember this point. Towards samsara instead, with everything. Everything is from my, which is from my itself. Going towards samsara at large instead of oneself. If there is a frequency in the ceasing itself, there will not be any difficulty with something that is about mental. My from my itself, uninvolved within the involvement itself frequently. My from my itself frequently. Cycle of ceasing is more. Then the mind will not be in difficulties. The blessing also not difficult. There is no difficulty in itself. The difficulty is because of the striving is a lot. Is the cost of the suffering. When it's a lot, therefore it creates difficulty. When the ceasing is within itself more frequently, difficulty will be lessened and lessened. There is no need to make the mind in whatever ways. Uninvolved within the involvement itself frequently, end all difficulty on its own, from within. There is cutting all the striving and searching. The titti will not be fixated to itself, not grasping for itself. The essence that is concluded is titti, but it doesn't grasp for itself. It's not fixated to itself. Uninvolved within the involvement itself is not fixated to itself. My from my itself, my is not fixated to itself. Constantly balance with samsara, so that there will be the same purification. Do not separate anything from anything. Everything. Everything is from discard, the discarding itself. The mind discard the discarding itself. The mind discard itself. Let go of the letting go itself. and this will be automatically balanced with samsara. If one still guarding one's own mind, it's impossible to be balanced with samsara, because that is being specific within oneself. Discard the discarding itself, the mind discards itself. Discard the discarding itself. Let go of the letting go itself, not grasping for the non-grasping itself. This will be possible to be proceeded with all things simultaneously. Simultaneously helping through unwinding and liberation for everything. To endeavor to release from the mind, we must open up towards all things, everything. The mind will be open up from its being specific within itself. All flowers discard its blossoming state, not just grasping for blossoming state or budding state. Everything is from not grasping for the non-grasping itself. This will be the conclusion. It's not just about budding or blossoming as you think. It discards itself. It means that the discard discards itself. Actually, it put down itself, which is putting down the putting down itself. That which has nothing to do with blossoming state or budding state. Blossoming, discarding itself, nothing is left, whether it's blossoming or budding. That which has nothing to do with my or not my, attachment or detachment, liberation or not. That which has nothing to do with grasping or not grasping, taking or not taking, being empty or not. Let's not be obsessed with just being empty or not. That is grasping, that is overlaying there. Overlaying with the grasping mind. That which has nothing to do with being empty or not is from not grasping for the non-grasping itself actually. Let's conclude well through the conclusion of Nibbana to purify samsara through Nibbana. Let's be thorough with it. Let's not be obsessed to babbling on this and that, drinking tea and babbling on and on about this story or that story. Let's not be deludedly addressing someone with their fortunes like this and like that, on and on. Everything is from not attached even to the non-attachment itself. But they deluded to fixate and attach all by oneself. That's why it's become a burden and a problem. Move about. Don't sit still. So that there is simultaneously awakening for everything. There must be the declining right in front of us to see all the disasters, death, so that everyone can let go. So that everyone can have empathy for one another. Not just thinking about one can live, one can take, one can get, one can obtain. That is gonna push forward in such a stubbornness. Competing to be the better. Competing with the living to fixate. The world is like that, and they're just separating. However, we are born in the same world. Don't try to offend and harm, hurt each other. Just live. However you want to live. Enable to live. But there is the karma of hurting and harming one another. That's why someone is hurt and harmed. That's the law of karma. However, we have to make a conclusion for one another like this. If each country dissolve one's own conditions, then we can live in harmony, no matter which races. It will be so nice like that. We can just discard all those evilness. Those who are possessive with their own country, thief of the country, evil race, dissolve that kind of race, then we can live in harmony, end all about evil, being evil. Those who are too much loving their nations, however they gonna be living, departing from their nation by death, being possessive to the nation. That is the delusion that one creating conditions. My country, your country. My fellow, your fellow. In the past, is not this extreme. In the past, there are no fences. Each house. But when there are a lot of evil race, they are born too many, possessive, fixation, this and that, too much ego, delusive attachment, collectively, worldly, collectively in the countries, is a lot of separation, on and on. But we are in the same world. However, we live very difficult with separation, cannot come and go easily. That is according to evil race. Being deluded to be possessive, even already left through death. Continue to bless. Anyhow, wherever we are, there's supposed to be supporting one another. We can live in this world together, Just don't take advantage to one another. Let's share through the pure mind for one another instead. Then we can live in harmony. This is the simple world, but it's made it complicated to live together. We have to renew institutions of education. Samsara is the institution of education. Give it to those who are brightening as teachers or gurus instead. Everything is from not attached to the non-attachment itself, not grasping for the non-grasping itself. Give that to this kind of teachers, not to appoint whoever to teach from the darkness, teaching those who are dark. That's why it's dominating the world with the darkness. Therefore, at this era, the Arhants have to work hard to radiate the mighty force of purification for samsara much more, a lot more. At times, it will be acknowledged. When Nibbana concludes for samsara, we can talk about the same essence, listen to the same essence, and the ending itself all the same. Cessation within the cessation all the same. That's when samsara can take the perfection from this brightness. There's a lot of karma here. Wherever we live, death is coming anyhow, as usual. Death departs all the living as usual. All the delusion to fixate on living and lifestyle, that is a kind of state of depression. The aura is not brightening. Do water blessing on the other side. Helping through unwinding and liberation is already more than enough. The mind, which is grasping, is going further than the alignment. That grasping mind is stuck. Instead of being unwound, it's just creating karma, grasping for the perfection from the great perfection. There's a lot of expectations and obligation in this samsara, because it's like something that is pressing down intentions as well, pressing down the mind, which is the cause of suffering itself. That which has nothing to do with expectations or projection, helping through unwinding and releasing, then there is a liberation. Otherwise, it's always pressing down. That which has nothing to do with expectations or not. This will be releasing through the liberation. Because all the expectation pressing down, just like something heavy pressing down. That which has nothing to do with being expecting or not, then there is a release. This is the purification, the conditions of the mind. Unlock the conditions of the mind without not. That which has nothing to do with expecting or not. that which has nothing to do with being upright or not. This will be liberating and releasing out, discarding from blossoming state. Otherwise, it's gonna be stuck with just blossoming and budding, stuck with expectations. This is like rotten flower. Unwinding and helping through unwinding, helping through liberation, that which has nothing to do with my or not my. Releasing out, liberating out. It has nothing to do with involvement or uninvolvement. Unwinding, discarding, unwinding. If the mind is already open, you can make a conclusion in whatever way towards ending. If not opening out, and there is no conclusion, it will be just for the sake of conclusion. But on the contrary, if the opening is there, then there is a purification through the conclusion that is given. Too much dwelling within oneself is difficult because that is still limited. Too much within oneself, not going to open up towards samsara, it's difficult. Not yet coming to ending. You need to open up towards all things, blessed beings at the same time. Get out of one's own narrowness first. Then it will be easy to make a conclusion towards ending according to Luang Por. First of all, open up towards samsara so that you can get out from your own narrowness. If the mind is not open towards blessing for samsara, it's impossible to come to ending accordingly with everything. Because the essential code from Luang Por is samsara, is for samsara, that which has nothing to do with my or not my, expecting or not expecting, being upright or not, is all about the essence of the great compassion for samsara, to help unwinding and liberation for samsara. Unlock the tithi, opinions and meanings, delusive attachment for samsara. This is not something about personal matter. And neither is about the whole matter of the whole. But it's about the purification for the whole, for every matter, purifying every matter. Which is actually the delusive attachment. Purifying the delusive attachments of the personal and of the whole. It's not about personal matter. Purify all. all matters, helping through unwinding and liberation for all matters.